afternoon, everybody. This is Eric, and I'm here to help you with your webinar this afternoon. I'll be helping Patrick Phillips as his co-host this afternoon to talk with you about starting a home business, medical billing business, low investment with big returns. We're going to be talking about several different things in the medical field, both with the billing, the revenue cycle management, and also some great new sources of income for both the doctor and for you that you might be interested in typing in something in there. Again, let me tell you real quickly about ABS. ABS has been around for over 27 years, folks. I mean, that's a long time in the billing, in the business opportunity world, whether it's franchise world or business opportunity world. You know, a 30-year stretch is a very long time, and they're quickly approaching that 30-year mark here. But if you're looking for getting into a business with obviously that someone has some longevity to it and credibility, American Business Systems is your place to be looking. Obviously, we talked about medical billing. We are going to talk about medical billing today, and we're going to share with you what you're going to need to have to do medical billing. And one of the things you're going to need and have is a medical billing platform and an EMR system. There's no two ways around it. You got to have a solid billing system and EMR system, and that is coupled here with what you can see here. Our iClaim and EMRX platform can run on any platform because it's a web-based system. So if you know it as a software as a service, that's where all this is coming from. All the different, thank you for Matthew, thank you, it says coming in loud and clear. Thank you so much for doing that. We've got several different streams of income, and we're going to be talking with you about those and how those intertwine with each other, how some of them actually support one another, and we'll be going through all of that here this afternoon. The founder and the CEO of American Business Systems is none other than Patrick Phillips, and he will be my co-host this afternoon. Mr. Phillips has written several books, co-authored several books. One of the books that we'll talk about today is The New Thriving Medical Practice. Some of you may have seen this, maybe even ordered it off of Amazon. You can get any of these books off of Amazon. The one, How to Reprogram Yourself for Success, might be one of the books that you might need right off the bat. And so if you get back with your person that you're working with here at American Business Systems, they'll share with you how you can actually might be able to get a copy of that, because it's an incredible book, because a lot of people have a financial ceiling that they hit, and that actually helps you kind of break that ceiling there. He's also a member of the editorial board of Billing and Coding Advantage magazine. And I would say, without any further ado, let me get Patrick on here with us. Patrick, are you there?
Hey, good afternoon.
Trying to come in there. There you are. Good to see you.
Good afternoon, Eric. Hey, those of you who've come here to find out if there really is a business that has big returns and low investment, we just happen to have the opportunity that's out there, Eric. I don't know of any other opportunity that you can make the kind of money that you can make in this in a legitimate business, not some fly-by-night, get rich quick on the internet type thing, but based in reality. The reality is that people get sick, they go to the doctor has to bill somebody to get paid. Usually it's an insurance company or Medicare. And you, if you like our business model, can be involved in that business, working from home or anywhere in the world that has an internet connection. So pay attention. We're going to show you the kind of money that can be made and show you why this is a really hot business right now during the pandemic.
You bet. Folks, let me share with you early on, and I'll remind you somewhere through the webinar this afternoon, that if you have any questions, you know where the question box is, so feel free to type in any questions that you might have right there. So let's get started, Patrick. I know one of the biggest things is that people want to know, is there a future in medical billing? And I actually found this one and wanted to put it in our slide deck here about the revenue cycle management market growth scenario. And it looks like there's going to be a great forecast between now and 2027, as you can see there. That looks like a lot of billions of dollars right there.
Yeah, 135.12 to be exact, billions by 2027. Now, if you think about that, Eric, that's what, 6 years away, and that's a 12.2% growth during the next 6 years. It's just incredible. There is no other industry that I know of that's growing as fast as healthcare is. And of course, we're right smack dab in the middle of the thing that helps the doctors the most, and that is to help them get back to where they were before the pandemic.
You bet. And folks, you see these dates. These dates are here in January or right here in February. And the other one we're going to share with you is the Revenue Cycle Management Market 2020 Trends Analysis. Again, this came out on the 13th, but Patrick, this is what I loved about it. It says here, the revenue cycle management is seeing rising uptake in healthcare centers in the U.S. and in other countries across the world as well. It is leveraged to track the revenue from the patients by managing claims, processing payments, and revenue generation. Medical billing software or practice management software is needed for it, and the overall process includes determining everything from eligibility of patients, collecting their copay, coding and tracking claims, collecting payments, and following up on denied claims. You would have thought we wrote that.
Yeah, I mean, that is in summary, that is exactly what revenue cycle management is. And folks, if that term is not familiar with you, RCM, they refer to it as, that is the whole revenue cycle. That is all the ways that the doctor can get revenue through his business. That's from the insurance companies, from the government agencies, from the patients themselves. And we help with all aspects of that, as you'll see. And gosh, again, here's a terrific article that just came out recently that just says basically, this is the business you should be in right now because, man, it is on its way to the moon.
You bet. Matter of fact, another article that actually triggered this was an article that Adam Phillips, the president of the company, shared with you and I just a couple of days ago. And it talked about, this came from a group called Change Healthcare. And they do a lot of analytics. They do a lot of things like this. And they came out with this article, the Change Healthcare 2020 Revenue Cycle Denials Index. And we just talked about denials. And Patrick, before we get into even talking about denials, why don't you kind of just share a little bit what a denial is in the first place?
Yeah, sometimes an insurance company gets a claim from a doctor, or in this case from you sending the claim on behalf of the doctor. They'll get a claim and they'll reject it or deny it for some reason. Now, there's lots of reasons why they want to deny it, but one of the main reasons is they'd rather keep that money in their bank account as long as they can, you know. So they know that by denying it, then the doctor's office staff has to go back and find out why did it get denied and resubmit it. Now, that happens sometimes, but only about half of all the claims that are denied are reclaimed, you know, sent. So with our system, of course, as you know, Eric, built-in denial codes and all sorts of things that's behind the scenes, we scrub those claims so that before they actually get to the insurance company, we know whether they're going to be denied or not, basically. And that's why our denial rate in our system nationwide right now is less than 2%. Now, folks, that's unheard of. There are doctors' offices who are experiencing 25 and 30% rejection rates on their denials. Why? Because they don't have the right system. They don't have the right people who are dedicated to it, have a motivation to get that money collected for the doctor. And so it just kind of goes off the table somewhere. Yeah, the doctor loses that income.
Yeah, it just goes off the table, like you said. Yeah. Well, I thought some of these other screenshots we're going to share with you were just incredible because, again, folks, what you're looking for is a business opportunity for you to make money. But you've got to, the only way for you to make money is for whoever you're servicing is making money. And one of those specialty areas of what Patrick just said, that's how you're going to help the doctor make money by collecting claims that normally go unprocessed or unpaid. Nicholas says here, 1 in 4 denials originate in registration and in eligibility. It takes time. It's time to take a hard look at the dollars and time these denials represent and focus on denial prevention in this area. Now, Patrick, like you said already, our system's already catching that information for registration and insurance eligibility in real time, right at the very beginning, whenever a doctor's literally putting a patient in on our system.
Yeah, and one of the reasons for that, folks, is because there is a third-party entity in the medical billing industry that you may have heard of called a clearinghouse. Now, that's usually a third-party company that's set up to receive the claims from medical billers and doctors' offices like yourselves. They receive those claims, they look at them, they scrub them, they find out if there are some reasons why they can deny them, and then they'll reformat them and send them on to the insurance companies the way each one of them wants to see it. They all want to see it a little bit different, you know. So you pay a fee for that as an insurance medical biller or a medical practice. You're going to pay something to have those claims looked at and reformatted like that. Now, ours is the only system that we know of, right, Eric, that is basically a built-in clearinghouse into our system. So we don't send all of our claims through another third party. We are responsible for those claims, and that's why we make sure that they're less than 2% rejection rate, because that is something that stands us out from the competition that's out there. All the other software companies are going to have, way higher rejection rates than 2%.
Well, here's just a statistic that is just unbelievable. And it says here 86% of denials are potentially avoidable, and only 14% are unavoidable. And again, that gets back to, imagine that if you've got 4 invoices that you've just sent out for your own business, and understanding that you're only going to get paid on 1 out of the 4, you're losing a heck of a lot of chunk of change right there in your own business. Let alone if you take a doctor that sees 20, maybe to 40 patients a day, and you're taking out 3/4 of that almost, and that some could literally be denial claims or denied claims. Patrick, it's no wonder that doctors are not going bankrupt even earlier than what some of them already.
Yeah, the sad thing is that a lot of their visits from patients because of the COVID scare have gone down, and therefore their revenue has gone down. So Eric, we've talked to licensees who said that they've had doctors say to them, look, forget 2020. Let's focus on 2021, and let's get every dime that's available to me, that's owed to me by the government agencies and the insurance companies. And that's what we teach our people to do. That's what this business is all about, folks. Think about going out in the Sahara Desert and selling popsicles. That'd be pretty easy, wouldn't it? Well, that's what we're selling to the doctors: cash flow, revenue. They're not used to anybody approaching them on stuff like that. Usually they're selling them cotton balls or, gowns or gloves or whatever. We have something much better than that. It's called cash.
There you go. And folks, if you'll pay attention today, you're going to see where we're going to lay out the first part of it, which is the billing side of it, and how much money that obviously you can make, and you can already see that you're going to help the doctor increase his or her revenue. But you're going to find out some other areas in the webinar today of how you can actually use some of the other services that'll help you get in the door to these doctors, help the doctors get more money in their revenue, sometimes doing their billing, sometimes not even doing their billing. So pay attention, really take some notes here as we kind of go through this. So Patrick, again, we're going to talk about, starting a home-based medical billing business with a low investment with high and big returns. Now, before I go any further, again, Patrick, I would have to say on your behalf, your company is probably one of the lowest investments out there known to man at this point, with the potential money that can literally be made out there.
If you're out looking at business opportunities and franchises, folks, those of you who have been looking know that our investment, which is about $28,000, a little under that, that is a bargain in today's world, because most franchises, the fees alone, not mention the inventory and the real estate, there's $50,000, $60,000, $75,000 up front for most franchises, and they go up from there. I think McDonald's is up to $1 million now, just to be able to say you own a McDonald's. So if you're looking to work with teenagers 80 hours a week, I'd say look into a fast foods. But if you want to make some real money, I'm talking about more than most doctors earn. Some of our licensees, Eric, are earning more than the doctors they bill for. That's a pretty good business to be in.
Exactly. Well, here's one thing that you can start to look at. And first of all, you got to understand what is going to be your return on investment. So everybody's want to know what their ROI. And basically, folks, that's just a very simple definition. It's how quickly can you break even on your investment. So how can you pull those coins from one side of the building to the other side of the building, and you get that, and you break even at least at your first investment. And again, if you think about it, obviously there are some big investments out there that you have to input, and it may have some big returns. But again, some people cannot afford to go out and do $100,000 business, or $250,000 business, or a $500,000 business with real estate, because that's when you're going to start getting into real estate. So what can
Yeah.
you do? Very small investment. Keep that investment low. Do this from home. Maybe even do this part-time to where you can at least get to the point of break even. Because what you're going to see today is we're going to show you how, at least with one doctor, how you can break even in your first year of business. And again, Patrick, analysis always taught us here in business that, if you break even in the first 2 to 5 years, you're
Yeah.
doing very well.
You're doing terrific. If you're in the black ink, not the red ink, by the end of the second year, you're doing well as a business. We have licensees, of course, who've seen a return on their investment because it is so low in a very short period of time. Some within a half a year. But on the other hand, folks, the typical in any kind of business like this, the typical is that you're going to run your business for a year or so before you get a return on all of that you've invested. Now, Eric, you've broken this down as a real simple guide here as to how to think about ROI. I like this.
Yeah, you
Invest.
got an investment, a return, and you got success.
Yeah.
3 small little issues here. Absolutely. So let's talk about the investment here at ABS. I mean, I remember Patrick. Let's see, was it 15 years ago? It was right at $10,000 or $14,000.
Oh yeah.
And if you think about it, over a 15-year period that I've known you, even because I think when I first met you, your investment was at $14,000, but you've added so much more to it. But within that 15 years, you haven't even doubled that price yet. What are you waiting on?
I'm waiting on some of my staff members to agree with me that our fee is way too low, and so that might happen sooner than you think, Eric. Because I know this: as long as we have an investment that's at $30,000 even, we are in the category that's considered out there low risk, low investment business opportunity. So we've done this and kept this fee. Ours is $27,990. Now, Eric, that is less than 30,000, but it's also less than 29,000 and 28,000. It's way down there, but there is some room there for increasing that if we wanted to. Now, why does it go up? Not just inflation, folks. In the last 10, 12 years, it's not like we had to double the investment. What we did is we doubled the return on the investment for our licensees. And as we're about to show you here, it's not just the medical billing that can earn you a lot of money, but the other ancillary services as well.
Yeah, Patrick, we're going to show them that in their first year, they could actually make 2.5 times their investment of what you can get here with American Business Systems. Now, is it going to come quickly? It can come very quickly. But I'll tell you, just like any other business, it's going to take work. It's going to take your effort to get out there and go do it. Obviously, it's going to take training. We've got ABS has the best training and the best support systems that you'll find out there. So again, as you're looking, part of your due diligence is to evaluate your return on investment and what you're going to be able to get. So obviously, the return with just billing, we're strictly staying with just billing right now. Patrick, I mean, with one doctor, a brand new licensee in their first year can earn anywhere from $30,000 to $39,000 their first year doing billing. And that's just with one doctor seeing about 20, 25 patients a day. And that's a very doable thing.
Well, so that would make me, if I were somebody looking into this business myself, Eric, I would say, well, that is a good question. Eric, you asked Patrick, what is he waiting on? Why is this as low an investment, $27,990, as you've got it priced? Folks, it's because if you can earn more than that in your first year with just one client, then of course it's a good investment, right? But what we're also going to tell you here as we get more into the other services, we also make money as a company on the other services as well. So this is a residual business for you and for us as a company. And that means that as long as you're an ABS licensee and you're doing business through our system, we're making money on the back end as well as that upfront license fee. And that means we always have return on our investment as a company in new training materials, new marketing materials, and all the other stuff that we do for our licensees with no additional fees to them whatsoever.
That's correct. And then again, like we said, what we would say success, and what most of our licensees would find to say success is getting that one doctor. Now, obviously, it does never stop there. It just never stops at the one doctor. But most people want to know if I can get that first doctor, I'm starting the business, I've got things going. And again, your return on your investment, your expected return on investment with that one doctor, again, not only covers your investment here with ABS, that low investment with big returns, but you're also seeing that you can see how quickly it can double. Now, what we're going to do here, we're going to point you in a direction back to our website here to go do an income calculator. We've already got some numbers plugged in here, but Patrick, why don't you just kind of walk people through what this is going to look like once they get here to the website and knowing how to work through this income potential calculator.
Yeah, so I tell people when they go here, Eric, to go ahead and just plug in one. For the number of doctors that you would like to have as a client, just put one in there. Let's see what happens. Now, that's assuming that this doctor sees an average number of 20 patients a day. They work 5 days a week, and that you are charging about 7% for your billing services. In other words, folks, what you'll do is you'll bill for the doctor gets paid from the insurance companies, and within our system, our reporting shows that you brought in this X amount of money, and that will be 7% of that you would charge the doctor. And that was based on, I think, $150 per visit. So as you can see, when we plug that in, that's a $36,400 servicing one medical office.
And it fits right in at $30,000 to $39,000. Some are going to be a little less, some could be a little bit more.
Yeah.
You may run into a specialist where it's a bigger, more money that you're charging for claims, or the doctor's charging for claims. It could be a myriad of different things, but it's going to stick within that range there, that range from $30,000 to $39,000. And again, I'm so glad that Patrick likes to stick with just one doctor, because obviously we could blow the numbers out, and we have in the past. We've gone, well, let's kind of dream and see what it looks like with 5 doctors or with 10 doctors.
Yeah.
But obviously with 10 doctors, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that'll be $364,000 a year. So we don't need to do a lot of multiplication right there, and just add another zero to that.
And Eric, as a disclaimer, let's say this too. Folks, this is what we're giving you are not just numbers we just come up with. These are based on what we see from our licensees. That is the averages that are out there. Now, do all of our licensees make $364,000 a year? No, but there are some that do, because they have a number of doctors and they've been in the business for several years. Even people who are just now getting into this business, Eric, are signing up clients left and right, because it's a needed service. And it's something the doctor does not want to have to focus on, but if they don't, they can go downhill real fast. So a good professional billing company that's backed by the nation's largest network of medical billing revenue managers, that's us, you can't help but be successful in this business. So the disclaimer is this: you can make a lot more than $36,400, and you could make less. If you didn't sign up a doctor, you wouldn't make hardly anything there, right? And some doctors may not be seeing 20 patients a day. Some of them may be charging less than $100 per visit. I think that's what all your numbers are based on, though. So let's take a look at those numbers more carefully here, Eric, see how we broke that down.
Yeah, we're going to dive into this and just really break it down, because again, some people might think, oh, what's that funny thing that's happening back behind there, those calculations and how all that working out? Well, we're just going to do simple, old-fashioned math here. No tricks and mirrors, no slide rulers here that we're doing. Just one doctor sees 20 patients a day. Obviously, we know that that's going to be, if that doctor's charging at least $100 per patient, that's going to be $2,000 a day for the doctor. I mean, again, if you think about it, that's what the doctor's thinking every day that they're waking up, is they've got overhead, they've got rent, they've got their employees and everything else, probably their own medical bills and schooling that they've got to pay for and all that. But a doctor would like to see at least a minimum of $2,000 a day, typically, obviously more with some specialties. But with that, you take that for yourself, and you take the 7% that you're going to be billing per day, well, that averages you $140 a day. Now, the great thing about that is you're going to make $140 a day in less than 2 hours. So, Patrick, again, If somebody wants to give themselves a raise and stop making $14, $15 an hour, you might be really happy at making $70 an hour and working about 2 hours instead of all day long to make that same amount of money.
That's right. There is that kind of profit in this, folks, because it's almost 100% labor, right? There's no product or service, no inventory. You don't have to restock anything. You don't have any rent because you don't have to have an office. You do this right out of your home or out of your RV as you travel down the road, as one of our licensees did. And $140 a day may not get you excited, but all you have to do is do the math. Remember, this is based on how many doctors?
One doctor.
One doctor, one medical office. So you just do the math in your own head. How much do I want to make and how much am I willing to work?
Let's finish out this math here. So $140 a day times 5 days a week. That's $700 a week times 52 weeks out of the year. There's your $36,400 per year per doctor. And again, that's literally about 10 hours a week if you want a part-time job. That may be enough for some people who are at that point of just about retiring. You may be going, okay, it's about time for me to leave this clunky job and take a little bit of retirement, take a little bit of rest here, and spend a little bit of investment in your own self, finding at least one doctor, and then doing this on a part-time basis. And that's done literally by several of our licensees, Patrick.
Yeah, and folks, this is all averaging from what we get, the reports that we get from our licensees. So we're not just making numbers up here, but you're willing to go to that income calculator and plug the numbers in for yourself. If $36,400 from one client that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what you're looking for in a home business.
Well, let me remind everybody, we are literally at the bottom of the hour. So if you've got any questions, we're kind of about the halfway mark right now. We're about to transition from going from the medical billing side of it to some of the other multiple streams of income that are being added to American Business Systems. Well, already has been added, some that are coming on, and a real big one here we're about to show you here in just a moment. So feel free to ask any questions as we kind of keep this thing going.
Eric,
Patrick, yeah, go right ahead.
Just so everybody is still awake, I know these webinars you can get off on your computer doing other things. Let me just call out the names that I have not seen questions from. We will address the questions in the order that they come in. There's a couple so far, but we haven't seen anything from, I think, Derek, Dimitri, Durga, Janet, Jurgita, Lakeshaw, Lourdes, Marcus, I think Matthew typed something in, Mike, Nancy, Pamela, Reginald, Scholar, Takesha, and Valerie. Folks, this is a live webinar. You see, I called your name out because we are seeing, when you typed in your name, that on the screen. What we don't see is questions from you, and now they're coming in. So Eric, that's why I do this, to kind of get people back to the questions so we can answer anything you have as we go along here that we'll address live.
So Jurgita is asking, are there areas protected from other franchisees? Actually, you want to answer that, and then we'll move right along here.
Yeah, hey, one of the keys of most franchises is, I should say the setbacks, is that they have a territory. Like if you open up a Subway sandwich shop, they don't want one on every block, so they'll put a 2-mile radius or something around each location. So you are limited as to where you can market your business. With this business, folks, your territory is the whole United States. Yes, we have licensees with doctors outside their own area because they've had referrals from doctors that are close by. And so it can grow nationwide. The same billing, the exact same process is done. You don't need to be licensed in every state to do this. Once we take you through our certification, you're ready to go and bill for any doctor anywhere in the 50 states of the United States. So no territory.
So she's going to keep her hands on the wheel. So I appreciate that. You do that. I want you to be good. All right, so let's talk about some of the other services. Now, folks, some of you probably have had a little fear struck in you because you see the word codes or coding or medical coding, and you're going, how can I learn all those medical codes? I've talked to doctors, maybe I've talked to people that are in the medical field already, and you've been asking some questions. Can I get involved in medical billing? And if they say, if you don't have any coding experience, you'll never make it in here. Well, that's not true. That's just a myth. That's not the facts. It's just a myth, because remember, you are going to become a certified medical revenue manager. Now, you heard us that we didn't say you're just becoming a medical biller. What you're doing, you got to think of yourself above just being the one that always does the billing. You are the manager of managing that doctor's revenue, which could mean that you're managing all of your services. And one of those services that you're going to see that we're going to talk about is coding services, and the audit guard part of it, that both deal with medical codes. So let's squash the myth real quickly before we get involved in everything, and just let you know that coding is part of what you're getting as one of your services. But let's talk about one of the services, Patrick, that again is very helpful for doctors, because again, especially right now, here in the beginning of the year, higher deductibles, some doctors are having trouble maybe collecting from some patients. Let's not send those patients to a collections agency. Let's put them on a good program to help those patients and those doctors.
Yeah, and folks, all of our services, by the way, are based on cloud technology, meaning there is no software that you would get from us on a CD or a DVD and install it anywhere near your computer, because we teach people, look, the best way to run your business nowadays is from the cloud. That's what Apple does. That's what Amazon does. It is the future. And so if you have any type of software that's offered to you by another company and they say, yes, it does come on a CD or a DVD, that's how you can be sure that it's not cloud-based. Because if they send you something on a CD, they want you to install it on your hard drive inside your computer. And with all the code regulations and HIPAA fines that doctors can get for having the patient data exposed on their own laptops and computers, that's not where you want to go. So this too, the Quick Collect, is a way of collecting the money for the doctor from patients, and yet you never have to lift a telephone, you never have to talk to a patient, you never have to even mail out anything or print out anything. We do all of this behind the scenes through our technology and collect that money from the patients for the doctor. And folks, like it says, we can collect up to 3 times what a typical collection agency would normally collect. So the doctors love it. They pay a little small fee, of course, for that. But again, that's part of why you make money and we make money on all these services as well.
You bet. One of the other things that would be very helpful for doctors, especially right now, I know that we're not coming out of the whole COVID pandemic, but it feels like we're right in still the middle of it. But the doctors, especially now, is a good opportunity to get the patients either into the office for their annual checkups, maybe an annual wellness visit, maybe even scheduling them for that. An auto card, this service actually sends out real mailed cards to the patients, reminding the patients maybe of a service they need to do. Like I said, an annual wellness visit, maybe it's an annual checkup, maybe it's a mammogram. It could be just about anything, just to have a reminder. It could just be a happy birthday from the doctor's office, just saying, hey, don't forget we're here. Or it could be information about how the doctor is using telehealth, or there's, even though you may not be able to come in, you can still connect with us. So this is a marketing part of where you can help the doctor market their business to remind the patients that, hey, just maybe because we're faced with COVID doesn't mean that you can't see us or I can't help you. This is a wonderful area, a way to help boost that some of that revenue back into the doctor's office, whether it's through a physical visit or maybe a telehealth visit. This is an excellent way to keep that communication going back and forth between patients and doctors.
Yeah, Eric, I just did an interview this week that'll be posted on our website here probably within the next week or so with a lady who just went through our training. Michelle Allen is her name. And she said, Patrick, that auto card is one of the reasons I joined you. She says, that is a fantastic automated way of marketing that I've been looking for in my other businesses that I've run in the past. She said, that is an incredible service that you guys have come up with. And the fact that you've designed campaigns, card campaigns, a series of cards for us, our licensees, Eric, it's just a wonderful way to communicate with not only your prospective doctor clients, but for the doctors to communicate with their patients as well, and keep that connection, that human connection there.
We already mentioned a little bit about coding, and one of the areas that doctors need help with coding is that, are they making sure that they're using the correct codes? And this audit guard is a way in which the doctors can have their current code, some of the claims that they're already doing and have done, checked and done an audit on. And so maybe this is one of those first things that you might want to do in your prospecting of a client. You could simply ask the doctor, when was the last time you had your claims audited without going through a real audit? Wouldn't you like to know what would happen if you did go through an audit? You can actually supply that. And again, you don't need coders because, again, all of our people that run the audit guard part of this service are all certified medical coders.
Yeah, Eric, I missed a question that Janet asked that's really tied in with the auto card. Since auto card is part of our automatic marketing system for our licensees to market their clients, she says, what kind of assistance do you provide to assist in getting physician customers? Well, Janet, that's one of the things we provide is the tools that let you stay in touch with those doctors on an automated basis. You don't even have to think about it. Once you put them into a campaign, they're going to get a card from you every single month or every other week or however you set it up for yourself. And they will be marketed to automatically. And then we have other tools we're going to talk about later in the webinar here too. So there's many other webinars that we've done, Janet, specifically on how to market to doctors. You might go to our YouTube channel that I'll give you here in just towards the end of the webinar, and go and watch some of those webinars if you'd like to see what we teach our people to go out and market. The secret in this business is knowing how to get past the gatekeeper and how to actually connect with a doctor. That's the toughest part of any business, getting clients, right? So we've zeroed in on that and been experts at that for 27 years.
Absolutely. All right, so let's move on here on another part of this. Let's talk about iDocs now. Again, this is another service. Again, if you want to share this with the doctors, because you know that the doctors have to keep their records for a minimum of 7 years. Some of the specialists have to do it for over 10 years. And that can take up a lot of real estate for those doctors. And one way you can get that moved out of that doctor's office is obviously through the cloud and into the cloud. Now, this is separate from electronic medical records. So don't get this confused with an EMR system. This is the actual physical paperwork that those doctors still have to hang on to, and it's 100% HIPAA compliant. And Patrick, we've seen licensees use one or two of these types of services. Again, either like you said, to kind of get their foot in the door or get past that gatekeeper or whatever it might be. A lot of these services that they'll learn during training actually helps them get their first client.
Yeah, and keeping records in a physical form, in a physical building, in today's world just doesn't make sense. Eric, there are stories about medical practices, many of them in New Orleans during the Katrina. A lot of them just went out of business because all of their patient records were just wiped out. Now, with ours, the doctor can keep the paper if they wish, but they can also scan it in so it's available to any computer in the world that's connected to the internet. It's a cloud-based, HIPAA compliant, I should point out. So HIPAA has approved this system, folks, called iDocs Now, that allows the doctor and their staff, as many as people in the office as wishes, can access these records electronically. And it just changes the way a practice works when they can handle all this electronically and not worry about a piece of paper getting lost or misfiled.
Yeah, you bet. Moving on here, we've got CodeWrite. Again, this is the other side of the coding area. Now, this is whenever the doctors need coding immediately. They need help. And you will find this with a lot of surgeons. Let's say that you land a surgeon as one of your new clients, and they don't actually do the coding. A lot of the doctors that you'll see, like in a doctor's office, they're always doing their coding because it's happening right then and there. But if you got a surgeon that's they can't use their hands for anything right now, they're dictating everything that they have. So that does have to go to a coder. And so we again have a great opportunity for you to use CodeWrite to meet that service need. Patrick, before we even get into this last one here that we're going to talk about today, let's go over some of these questions here. I think Durga has a question that maybe you want to answer there, and then we'll see if there's some more questions that come in here.
Yeah, so the first part of the question is, apart from your fees, she's talking about our licensee fee, which is $27,990 we mentioned, are there any other investment involved? Well, as long as you have the equipment that you need, which is any computer, literally almost any computer, it doesn't matter about the storage or the memory or anything nowadays because it's all cloud-based software. You are in business. If you have a cell phone and a computer, you got everything you need. I used to say a printer. Sometimes you need to print things on paper, but most of it's turned into PDFs and just stored electronically on your computer nowadays. And of course, if you have a fax machine, you have it built into your computer. Basically, your fax machine that might be a part of your printer can scan in a document, and then that can be sent electronically. So there's not a whole lot of investment unless you run out of some of the marketing materials. We give you over 2,000 pieces of marketing material with our initial package, and that's plenty for most people to go out and get their first client. But if you need more, of course, you can order those. That's your only other investment is the money that you would spend going out and having those things printed yourself, except we can have them printed, cheaper because we print in volume.
Absolutely. Let's see. I think you answered all of that for we're good there. And see if there's any other questions here that we may have missed. So I just want to make sure. Okay. Jadita is asking, are there other tools and services included in the $28,000 price? Everything that you've seen so far, everything, including any future services that ABS comes into play, is also going to be included. So
yeah, so no, there's no hidden fees here, folks. We don't believe in nickel and diming people to death. Once they've paid that one-time lifetime licensing fee of $27,990, that is your investment. You'll never pay another penny to ABS for support. Right. All the lifetime support we give you, the lifetime access to our licensee website that has hundreds of hours of training and documents on it. And of course, our ongoing training webinars that we do on a regular basis. We did the one this past Friday, Eric, for licensees, right? So that is something you continually get just as a part of being a part of ABS. And there's no renewal fees for support. There are no membership fees each year that you pay us. It's a done deal as far as your investment is concerned once you've paid our licensing fee. And so all of these services that you see here are all included. They're all what we call ancillary services. That means they're not essential for you to run your billing business, but sometimes the doctor will bring up different things that we just happen to have the solutions to them, and you can say, yes, I can solve that problem too.
One more question, and then we'll save some of these last ones right towards the end. And we've got Reginald's asking, I understand that we need to have a certified professional billing credential. Do you provide the class, and how long is it? We do provide a class, Reginald, and that is for you to become a certified medical revenue manager. That takes about, 3 weeks maybe at the most, Patrick, now?
Yeah, I mean, we've gotten people that have gone through that in less than 3 weeks. We have others that drag it out, and they've got a full-time job and they don't have time to focus on all of the learning that they need to do in that first 3 weeks. So they can take as long as they wish, Eric. There is no deadline on how you have to get through the training. Right. And everybody who completes our training does get certified. So all you have to do is just commit yourself to getting through it. It's only 10 modules, but they're about an hour and a half each live with a live instructor, one-on-one, you and the instructor. And that can go as quickly as you want it to go.
You bet. All right, so let's talk about this last ancillary service that we've been kind of waiting here, because folks, this is the one that some of you have been thinking, well, gosh, how am I going to break into a doctor's office? How am I going to get past that gatekeeper? What are some of the really, really technical things that are happening in the medical field right now? Well, folks, we know that last year, here in America, every American here has gone through what we've seen as this pandemic, which led to a boom in telehealth medicine, but it never stopped there. It went into what's called virtual care. And although this is not necessarily new, it has jumped considerably. Some doctors were already doing some remote visits with patients and remote monitoring with patients. And so what we're going to talk to you about right here is a new service that ABS has added here towards the end of last year, going into this year. And this alone could, again, help you get that return on investment. So you talk about a low investment with a big return, just kind of see what's happening here. So Patrick, let's kind kind of talk about some of the things that are occurring. It says using telehealth for a more effective continuum of care. Now, folks, what that means is that most Americans have at least one chronic condition. A lot of those have at least more than two. So just think about it. Most Americans have maybe high blood pressure or diabetes, and if they got one of those, they probably have the other. And so what doctors are doing now, along with Medicare, is reimbursing the doctor to monitor these patients on a monthly basis, possibly sometimes with a device. And we're going to talk with you about that and how that is. But this guy here, this guy is Daniel Tashnik. He is an attorney, but he wrote on how remote patient monitoring is changing the practice of cardiology. Now, the reason we're showing this to you, because some of the numbers we're going to show you here is basically some numbers from a cardiologist. So what you see here is virtual care medicine that's happening is being delivered by what's called remote patient monitoring, which could be nothing more than a blood pressure cuff that links this information up to a platform, but it has to be monitored, and it's going to be over a 30-day period. Now, Patrick, what's exciting about this is, again, the money that can be made in this field for a licensee is just truly unbelievable. But more important than that is the kind of money that the doctors can make. And so I thought maybe you and I could start with really what's in it for the doctor? I mean, the doctor's not going to do anything if there's not something in it for them, right? So
right. It's all about bottom line. The doctor would love to talk to you. If you could say to a doctor, I think I could show you how to bring in another $250,000 a year in revenue without doing hardly anything extra, that might be of interest to me as a doctor. And it is a door opener for sure. So folks, think of it this way. You know that telehealth is just using technology like Eric could be the doctor and I could be the patient right now. That's what telehealth is, just talking on a virtual platform like GoToMeeting here. But it's way more than just a Zoom meeting, folks. Patient monitoring means you're actually checking in with that patient on a regular basis, at least once a month, sometimes once a week, and you're monitoring where that patient is. Remember, some people have chronic conditions that they need to be monitored for blood levels and so forth on a regular basis to make sure that they are, staying healthy. And not having to come into the doctor is a great, great step for this, Eric, because it just hit just at the right time with this COVID, because nobody wants to get out and go to a doctor's office. And well, yes, there's big money to be made at it for sure.
And Patrick, you know this, what happened with COVID and what the doctors, their income just tanked. Yeah. And you're going to hear next week, you're going to hear Patrick talk to another doctor. She's going to talk about how doctors started losing money. Now they're trying to figure out how to recoup it and then go past that. Right. Folks, this is probably one of the most non-threatening things you could talk to any doctor about out there right now, because they are looking for ways to increase their revenues, but also they're looking for ways in which they can help their patients. So again, as Patrick said, imagine going to a doctor and saying, hey, can I help you add another $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 a month more, maybe $15,000, $20,000 more a month in your practice? Right. And that's all you're doing. You don't have to ask them to do the billing. But once you start building that trust with that doctor, and you can say, but not only do I do this, I actually do billing, and I can actually improve your capital there. Now you've got a real win-win situation. So what we're going to do here, just real quickly, we've got 10 minutes left. I'm going to show you the numbers here. So a typical doctor, and again, we've taken a very, very, very low. Patrick, I'm always doing research, and I was researching a cardiologist here in the last month that is going to have 1,125 patients for remote patient monitoring alone. Wow. You could do the math on that. That's 1,125 patients per month that doctor is going to be doing remote patient monitoring. And if you just take that times that $610, you're finding out that there's some money here. So again, we're not even blowing the numbers out here. But there are two codes that Medicare is reimbursing. One's called for chronic care management. The other one's called for remote patient monitoring. They both kind of do the same thing, and they both can actually be done together. But if you just took those two codes right there, help the doctor do this without adding any staff to their bottom line, it's not taking away any of their time from their doctor's office, but you're actually helping the doctor do this, and you're doing it not yourself. The company, the technology group that Patrick has gone into contracts with on this actually does all the work for them, and the doctors are still making money.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, people probably thought I was exaggerating earlier when I said a doctor could add $250,000, but as you can see, this is based on only 250 patients.
250 patients.
Some cardiologists, if they've been in practice for a while, they have hundreds and hundreds of patients that could be on this chronic care management and remote patient monitoring. And that alone, 250 patients, would bring the doctor an additional $210,000 a year. That is nothing to sneeze at, Eric. I've thought about packaging just this service as another franchise or business opportunity in and of itself, because there is so much money to be made in this. But I wanted to give our licensees the opportunity to take it to the medical industry out there and really spread it through our organization. And so I've given them basically this other cash flow system here at no additional cost. And folks, we've done that over the years for all of those ancillary services you just saw up there on the screen.
And I'm gonna pause here because Cece has asked a question, and she's asking the question: the clients are just private practices, or can you have a hospital as a client as well? For billing, you're pretty much going to be doing billing for private practices. Hospital billing versus regular billing for a doctor, primary care, or cardiologist. That's what you're going to be doing. But hospital billing is a different animal. However, you can actually do remote patient monitoring with a hospital and with home health care and some of these other things here. So believe me, ABS truly has widened your scope of potential clients that you can have. Just know that. All right, so obviously at the end of the day, we want to know what you're going to be able to make. Based upon those same numbers, an average licensee is going to make anywhere from $10 to $12, maybe $13 per patient per month on this. So again, if you took the numbers that we just ran on chronic care management and remote patient monitoring, you're going to, with those same 255 patients per month, you're making $32.50 per month. That's $37,500 a year. Well, again, that has absorbed your return on investment. So that's why we put this up. Imagine that you've done billing for a doctor and you've done virtual care. Patrick, if you add both of those numbers up, you're going to find out that this is 2.5 times the investment of the $27,990 here at ABS.
Yeah, Eric, okay, you convinced me. Our license fee needs to go up. However, for now, all I'm saying is, folks, get on the ship while it's about to sail. This thing is going to take off. There are going to be people, Eric, making 7-figure revenue from this service alone, remote patient care and virtual care. So folks, we're not exaggerating. There is money to be made in this, and yes, it's a real business based on a real need. It's not a fad. It's not going to go away. In fact, virtual care will take over, and I'm sure somewhere down the line there will be hardly very few reasons why you'd go in to see a doctor in person. That's
exactly.
Yeah.
And the great thing about this is, it's like we've talked for years, Patrick. There's 10,000 new baby boomers.
Eric, we lost the last 20 seconds of your little speech there.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I mean, we were saying that, there are 10,000 baby boomers per month that are turning 65 years of age, which means they're Medicare qualified at this point. And again, when you're 65 years of age, you're having at least one chronic condition. And it's all it takes to do remote patient monitoring. And if you can show any doctor that without them really having to add any more staff, they don't have to do much more than basically help them build their business.
Yeah.
That's the kind of money that you're going to expect you to make and the kind of revenues the doctor can make. And that's even without doing the billing. But you'll win the billing. You're going to win the billing.
Yeah, this is what we call mailbox money, right, Eric? This money that we're showing here on the screen, folks, is mailbox money. Now, for the billing, yes, you're going to put in some time doing that. For the virtual care, once you get it set up for that doctor's office, that is automatic money that's dumped into your bank account each and every month, 1 month after another, and you don't really do anything but just kind of answer any questions that the doctor might have from time to time. And of course, we have all the answers to that, as does our technology partner. So, oh, you're looking at the clock. It's we're almost at the top of the hour, Eric. Move on as fast as you are now.
Yeah. Okay. So look, here we go. Talk about the money back guarantee, and then, folks, I know we've juggled you out now. You got a ton of questions, so we'll see what we can do we can get to the top of the hour.
Well, people find this hard to believe, Eric, because it is a large investment, and because you may not understand all that you need to know about our business before you go through our training. We tell people, look, once you've paid the licensing fee, once you've got all of our materials, once you've signed the paperwork and have signed up with our instructor for the training, the one-on-one training, if for some reason within the first 30 days you don't think this is the right business for you, just tell us. We'll give you every penny of your money back. Now, Eric, if people are wondering how we do that, it's because less than 0.5% of our people that go through the training ever even talk about a return of their investment, a money back guarantee, but it's there just to make people feel really good about making that kind of decision. Well, and so their spouse doesn't get too mad at them.
Absolutely. All right, so let's talk about what your next steps are. Patrick, I know you got about 6 steps, and we probably need to go through these fairly quickly here.
All right. I'll see if you can keep up with me, Eric. First, look over our downloadable research guide. The research guide is over 50 pages of information, folks, that's in printed format, but of course, we send it to you as a PDF. Once you get that, you will see the full picture of what we do, and it will answer a lot of your questions if we don't get to them here today. So be sure and ask your ABS rep for that. Okay, the next slide will show that phone number and email address. By the way, if you're not sure who your ABS rep is, just call that phone number or send an email and say, I don't know who it is, but I want that downloadable guide. Secondly, browse our YouTube channel. I mentioned that earlier. There it is on the screen, youtube.com. Why ABS? When you go there, you will see hundreds, literally, of videos over the years that we've posted telling about this business and going into more detail about every aspect of it, including how we help you get clients. So be sure and go look at that as well. The third step is ask your ABS rep for an owner reference list. Now, here's what we mean by that. Folks, we've got licensees from coast to coast that are willing to take a phone call from you. They've gone through our training, they've done the due diligence you're doing, and they will answer all your questions as just a thank you to us for putting them into the business, basically. And we do not tell them what to say, so it's a real person in a real location somewhere in the United States that will answer all your questions for you. So be sure and ask for that from your ABS rep as well. Next step, ask for a live demo of our iClaim EMRX platform. Now, here's what that means, folks. As this next slide illustrates, look, up in the upper left-hand corner, that's one of our staff members who will actually do a demo of our cloud-based system for you and for the doctor. In other words, they will do a demo for your doctor's staff. You set these up through an online portal that we have for licensees, and once the doctor has watched the demo, then you will be able to go in and give them a proposal as to what you can do for them. In the bottom right-hand corner, you see that young couple. That is you. That's you and your spouse or partner watching the demo as we do it and answering all the questions for you from the doctor. All right, the next step is to review the purchase agreement and funding instructions. Look, here it is. I'll throw it on the screen. It's only 4 pages. Yeah, we keep it very simple for you folks. And once you've read through that, including the money back guarantee, you'll know exactly what you're committing to there. And then last but not least, once you've gone through that, get that back to us along with your funding and schedule your training. Your training is scheduled with your live instructor, which is one of our licensees located somewhere in the United States that will take you through what they have been taught and certified to teach you on. And that is how to market this business, all the details about starting your own business. You and your spouse or partner can attend that from anywhere that you have an internet connection, and schedule that with that instructor one-on-one. So that's why you can get through that in 3 weeks if you want to. You just schedule all 10 modules as quickly as you can.